It's another one of these days. That's right, it's another travel day. Actually, today is Thursday. My plane doesn't leave until tomorrow at 6 a.m., but I work until 2 or 3 a.m., so it's pretty much just gonna be pack up everything now while keeping an ear out for work and monitor work occasionally. And as soon as I'm done, pack up the laptop, the spare monitor, and all the other electronics into the backpack and haul butt to the airport so I can get through all the airport bullcrap. Someone asked me in a previous vlog how I pack my drone up. This one particularly is just going to go in my backpack. That's going with me on carry-on. The battery for the bigger drone I obviously keep out because that can't go into storage. So this one's going to stay in my carry-on as well. The big drone itself is actually in here, but I kept the original shell that the drone came in, and you can see it here. And then you probably can't see, you can kind of see the controller for it there, the remote. So I kept all that in there, and then I use all that extra space to jam other things in there. Like I've got a external hard drive somewhere over here. I've got filters for my vaporizer and just other random electronic stuff in there that doesn't have batteries, stored in all these little compartments. And then I have like socks and tripod and another tripod. I got just a bunch of electronic stuff in there that doesn't have batteries, with the exception of the controller, but I think that'll be fine. I do end up putting like socks or a towel or this envelope over the little post that the propellers sit on, because that will like rip through this mesh material. But other than that, I pretty much just try to make use of all of the available space that I can, because there's a lot that's going in that little space. Also, the gimbal's already packed in there, so I don't have that nice smooth motion. I have to rely yet again on my arm. Maybe I can lock it into place. That's pretty much it. I am gonna try and send the bigger drone home as soon as I get the opportunity. But again, as I stated in yesterday's vlog, it's way too expensive, so I'm gonna try again when I get to Romania. Another thing I like to do when I'm packing up is just clean as I go. You know, just maybe grab a rag and kind of dust things down, and you know, make sure all the dishes are done, pick up all the towels, the linens, and throw all those into a place so that they can be easily washed. I like to leave a good impression on all the Airbnb hosts, and I like to think of it, even though some of these hosts are very commercialized and have multiple places, and that's quite literally all they do to make money, I still like to treat each property as though it was my own. You know, if it was my own house, I wouldn't be a slob. I wouldn't leave it in disarray and expect someone else to come over and spend the night at my place. I would want it clean before I have company over. So I try to do the same thing, you know? And that's one of the things that are most commonly said on my reviews is, hey, David is super clean. Yeah, people call me, my name's David Austin. I prefer Austin. They call me David because that's my first name. Airbnb hosts can look at the reviews that other hosts have left for me and use that in the decision-making process on whether or not they want you to stay there. And sometimes hosts can be picky. I mean, think about it. If you're letting someone stay at your house, fully furnished with TV and everything else, aren't you gonna be slightly selective on who you let stay there? Fun fact, I just lost about 20 minutes of me recording, so I had to put the card on my computer to figure out where I left off so I can spew everything back at the camera again. And as I thought I was saying, which I did, that's work, hold on. As I was saying, the feeling is mutual too though, right? Like whenever I'm looking for a place on Airbnb, one of the things that I prioritize is, does the place have reviews? How many reviews? And obviously I'm gonna read almost all of the reviews depending on how many reviews the place has, but I will prioritize a place that has solid reviews over a place that doesn't, even though it meets all of my expectations and the reviewed place doesn't. Or not necessarily meets my expectations, but meets all of my needs, requirements for a place. An example of this would be internet. Like in this particular case where I'm going to in Bucharest, had a 2 meg connection, which I don't even know how that's possible. I'm wondering if the host was just confused on how fast the internet actually was, because I didn't think, Romania used to have the average fastest internet speed per user in the country. That was a few months ago when I looked, and when I was putting it in my travel plans. I looked again after I was looking at this Airbnb, and she told me she only had a 2 meg connection, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And I think they're ranked 9th or 10th or something now. but that was just like a quick Google search. I didn't like really invest a whole lot of time into it. But as an example, this particular host has a bunch of reviews, and a couple of the other places that I was looking at had 0. In fact, there were a lot of places in Bucharest that had 0 reviews. So even though she had a slow internet connection, I prioritized her place over any of the other places that would have been better, that actually had nice desks and stuff like that. But I just asked her, I was like, hey, is there any way that you can upgrade your internet speed for 1 month and I'll reimburse you? I got that coin. I'll pay you, however much the difference is. And in this particular case, it only ended up being like an extra 9 euros or something like that. And she's getting a 2 gig connection. Internet is cheap in Romania and fast. Also, this really isn't a whole lot of money. This is like not even 1,000 forint. It's like $3, $3 US. Speaking of which, let me know in the comments below if you would like to hear some travel tips, specifically Airbnb tips from me, because I do have a lot of good tips. I have quite a bit of experience at this point on how to find places and narrow down your results, and it can be quite intimidating when you're like looking for an Airbnb. There's a lot of options, and I have some tips on how to narrow that down and find exactly what you're looking for, or at least get really close. I also have a lot of tips on getting cheap flights. As an example, John from Before the Credits, who was with me at the beginning of this vlog, was considering coming out to Bucharest with me to do some side project work. And when we were first looking at the flights out there, it was going to be like $1,864 for round trip to Bucharest and back to Detroit. After about 3 hours of research, which, yeah, sometimes it does take that long, we were able to find a round trip ticket for him for about $501 US. That's a big difference and something that's not easy to find. But if you want to hear about that too, drop a comment below and maybe I'll consider making a video about that, because it'll be quite in depth. There's a lot of tools that I use for that. It's not just one place. I don't just go to Rome to Rio or Skyscanner or Travelocity or just use Google Flights. There's actually a lot to it, and sometimes it requires some finagling, but you can find some great deals.